Carson Wentz will be traded. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It is great to be here with all of you today. It is Thursday, February 4th, 2021, 9:48 a.m. here on the East Coast, a little earlier than our usual shows, but that's all right because, as always, you're alongside by my co-host, Gavin Tony. Gavin, we have some exciting news that we're going to share with you all just in a little bit here on today's show because tomorrow we'll be occupying a lot of doing some Super Bowl prop bets we're going to calculate and review for next week. But before we get to any of that, Gavin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Zach. Listen, Villanova lost last night. Kind of shocked me and you both. We didn't expect that, Zach. But I gotta take the time before we go. I gotta take the time out and give a shout out to Paige Becker. She is the first UConn underclassman in a while to have 30 points and 5 assists since Kate Lou Samuelson in 2017. She was ranked number 1 coming out of high school. She's destroying the competition. Her and her team are. I was mad I wasn't able to watch the game last night. It wasn't on TV. But, Zach, all in all, it was a crazy night in sports. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Look, if you're an Eagles fan, today's a interesting day for you because 3 years ago today, the Eagles were holding up the Lombardi Trophy in Minneapolis, Minnesota, after defeating the New England Patriots 41-33. Just 3 years later, the man who helped us bring back that trophy still wants out. Carson Wentz still wants out. This is not make-believe. This is not any leaks of what sorts. Adam Schefter on 97.5 yesterday morning saying this. Carson Wentz definitively wants out. We've talked about it the last 2 days. I don't blame him. I still like him. I like his talent, but it's not going to fit in Philadelphia. It's not. It's over. Rip the Band-Aids off. I'm no longer able to sit here as a Wentz apologist because he wants out. And I'm an Eagles fan before anything else, so I'm going to support this organization and what they do, despite how bad it's been. But situationally, if I'm an Eagles fan, what's there to be mad about today? Gavin, remember when we spoke about the rookie contracts with quarterbacks when they win Super Bowls? The Eagles did that on Carson Wentz's rookie deal, despite the fact that he was not the one under center in that game. The Eagles brought home the Lombardi Trophy. That feeling that we all had that day was great. That parade, phenomenal. Not every franchise is fit like the Chiefs and the Patriots. Even the Chiefs have had a lot of heartbreak in the years. Just now they're becoming more of a dynasty. But the Patriots over the last 2 decades have been outstanding, and they've been an exception to the norm. All right, no one else in this league is going to be able to duplicate that except for maybe Kansas City. All things aside, if you're an Eagles fan, the Carson Wentz era in Philadelphia was a success, but it is time for it to be over. Yes, I'm saying it. Probably the last person you'd expect to say it, but I'm here. I'm admitting it. I'm not going to sit here and say I got to eat crow. I still think he's a good quarterback. But if he mentally is not able to be in Philadelphia, despite all the changes that we've done, it's time to get rid of him. Not say tank this year, but it's going to be tough with still paying some of his cap this year and next year. But they can be contending in a few years. I don't believe they will. I don't see anything that says that the O-line is getting old. But during the O-line's prime, during the defense's prime, and during a rookie quarterback's contract, this team did win a Super Bowl. That is a success to me.
Zach, here's the one thing I still don't appreciate is because he's not talking to the media. There's all these speculations and all these what ifs, and ESPN is making this narrative like they know the answer. Zach, they don't know a darn thing about what's going on. Zach, you're right. 3 years ago today was arguably one of the greatest days in Philadelphia history. Zach, the first Super Bowl. Zach, another great part about today is it's my sister's 5th birthday today. So happy birthday, Olivia. Well, I'll see you later. But Zach, look, the Super Bowl and that was a perfect time. But back to the point. Carson Wentz did what we all expect him to do. We wanted him to be the future, bring in the Super Bowl, and he did that, Zach. Regardless who was under center, Zach, I live by this. If you roll reverse and you put Nick Foles at the start and then end with Carson Wentz, there wouldn't be no Super Bowl if Nick Foles was start because Zach, Nick Foles is an average quarterback, but the best backup ever. I'm going to call it how it is. But the fact is that this franchise still doesn't love him. The city never gave him respect for what he did. Zach, I said it a couple of shows ago. I said they put a statue out for a guy that basically played 5 games, and then you want to get technical, Zach. In the divisional round, we shouldn't have beat the Falcons. He got hot versus the Vikings, and then was still hot against the Patriots. But luckily, the defense came to save him because in the second half, it didn't really seem.
I mean, 41 points. I'm giving him credit.
I'm not saying
I refuse to knock Nick Foles down to build Carson Wentz up, but you can also acknowledge if you role reverse how it would be different.
Yeah, I'm not trying to knock Nick Foles down. I'm just being realistic. Zach, the role reverse is always going to be my biggest argument for this. Is what would it look like if it was the other way around? But here's the situation. If Wentz still wants out, I don't blame him. Zach, the fans are so. Every time you make a mistake, they want you gone. Zach, we hear it every day in our own sports class how quick people are turning on Carson Wentz. Zach, everybody wants Jalen Hurts. Then you have the organization itself who continuously keeps failing this man, who doesn't give him the help he needs. Zach, instead of getting him DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson, you get him JJ Arcega-Whiteside and Jay Rager. The most notable thing JJ Arcega-Whiteside caught was the virus this year, and the best thing I've seen Jalen Rager do this year was catch a 55-yard pass. Now, Zach, I know that's a little bit unfair for me because Jalen Rager was hurt, but I'm being honest, Zach. You got Zach Ertz, an aging Zach Ertz, but he's still good. You got a young Dallas Scott. This team is meant to win. This team is not bad. The defensive front is fantastic, Zach. The secondary has issues, and the linebacking core is garbage. But let's just focus on the offense. If you want to pin Carson Wentz as this sometimes villain or whatever, that's not fair. Zach, Carson Wentz has not been a head case at all. The only thing I've seen Carson Wentz do was pout after he got benched. But Zach, if anyone were to get benched, you would pout too. But
he's up in jail on the sideline. But if you want to call that pouting, by all means.
I wouldn't say for the whole game. I would say for maybe the first series, and then after that, he went to go help Jalen Hurts out. But Zach, this dude is a model citizen. This dude is A1 awesome, A1 foundation to be exact. I don't get the problem. So if Carson wants out and wants a new fresh start, by all means, Zach, I know you have his support. I got it. You got it right here for me too. I mean, you're constantly always being playing as this bad guy for not being this superhero. But I think the one thing that Carson Wentz has to realize is the reason why the fans are hard on him is because we saw what he did in 2017. We want the man to do well. That's it.
You're not wrong there, but I can bet any amount of money before March 19th Carson Wentz is traded. I just can't. At this point, it's inevitable. It's becoming uglier. You don't want it to become terrible. Its organization is trying to do its best to be functional, which I believe it can be. But all things aside, it's inevitable. Possible trade destinations are, I'd say, of course, Indianapolis, New England, possibly a few others up there. New Orleans is a team to think about. I don't know. This is a terrible situation for the Philadelphia Eagles because you owe them a lot of money next year and you owe them a lot of money in 2022.
Zach, if you're Carson Wentz and you go to the New Orleans Saints, that's instant Super Bowl. You got yourself a great dynamic running back, and Latavius Murray doesn't get enough credit, but he's pretty good down there too. You got Michael Thomas, aka Old Slant Boy. Then you got Emmanuel Sanders. You got a nice tight end, and you also got yourself a dynamic tight end, Taysom Hill, that does everything. A defense that's young and up and coming still. Zach, if he goes to New Orleans, automatic Super Bowl. If he goes to Indiana, AFC Championship at best.
Well, that you assume that he reaches his prime again.
Yes, that's going back to 2017. Yes.
Well, we are going to unemployment article January 3rd of 2021. Carson Wentz trade scenarios. We'll see whether or not we like them. I can see a couple of different things. People kept bringing up that in order to get rid of Carson Wentz's contract, you have to trade with some picks. Jared Goff was traded with 2 first-round picks, but I have a few things to say about that. For starters, Carson Wentz is still better than Jared Goff. I think most people would agree with that.
Always.
And second, the Rams were the ones who wanted Matt Stafford in that deal, and Jared Goff was a throw-in for that other deal. A team that trades for Carson Wentz wants Carson Wentz. I expect a defensive starter and a second or third round pick in return. Possibly the Eagles send them a third round pick as well. So 5 realistic trades, just taking a look here. Carson Wentz to the Colts. Again, we know that they have the retirement of Phillip Rivers. Andrew Luck is back in the conversation. Don't be surprised. But
is he really?
But this is a possibility. Another option is Carson Wentz to the San Francisco 49ers. That would probably include Jimmy Garoppolo, both big contracts that you would pretty much swap. That'd probably be close to a 1-for-1 trade. I mean, I don't know. I think if you're San Fran, you might throw something else in there. I don't know what it would be. Possibly one of their defensive starters or someone in the depth chart in the defensive back category. But that's also a possibility. Again, Carson Wentz to San Francisco. The third one on our list is Carson Wentz to Denver. I'm not really sure what they would offer. And then, of course, the New England Patriots. I could see J.C. Jackson and a second rounder doing it in order to get Carson Wentz in New England. And then finally, Carson Wentz to the Chicago Bears. I find that unlikely right now, but anything's possible. Some similar staff of there. Matt Nagy, of course, working on the Eagles quarterbacks coaching, I believe, before Carson Wentz was in Philadelphia. But some destinations to look at. If I'm the Eagles, I want a defensive starter, and I want I don't know. I think second round pick down would be more realistic than a first round pick because it is a big contract to swallow.
Zach, yesterday I said Carson Wentz was worth a first round pick. I still believe that. It's not going to be, what the Miami Dolphins and what those guys are offering for their first round pick, but a mid to low tier first round pick if you were at best. But Zach, you're right. The contract does a lot, so you will get a second round pick and a defensive starter. Zach, we talked about who we get from defense. If you're going to go 49ers, they have loaded defense. They got Fred Warner. They got Richard Sherman, which I think he's on the outright, so maybe not Richard Sherman no more. There's a lot of young defensive talent there. Zach, I don't see that likely happening because if you're the 49ers, why would you swap Jimmy Garoppolo for another big contract? Indiana seems like the clear-cut destination, Zach. It really does. You give him a great offensive line. You give him a coach that he loved working
running game.
Great running game. And Zach, you talk about getting a defense back. If you go Indiana, you're not going to, unless you get DeForest Buckner in the deal, which Zach, I don't believe he'll be movable. They got him last year. They didn't want to get rid of him. It would have to be, I would say Marlon Mack would be the guy that you get in return here. That and maybe a second round pick.
That's what I thought of is definitely a big factor. Now, what if I ask you this, Gavin? Let's say the Eagles trade. I'm trying to think what would be realistic because they have George Kittle, but they might benefit from having Carson Wentz, Zach Ertz, and a third-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo and Fred Warner.
I wouldn't want Jimmy Garoppolo here. That's the problem. Zach, he's a system quarterback, great in the run game. Zach, the reason why they went to the Super Bowl was a great defense and a great run game. Nothing else. We saw what happened in Baltimore where Jimmy Garoppolo actually had to throw the ball, didn't do it. I'm not a big believer in Jimmy Garoppolo. Zach, if you want to talk about quarterbacks I despise, Jared Goff is number 2 and Jimmy Garoppolo's got to be number 1. I mean, come on now. This guy is horrible. But Fred Warner is an interesting name because he is a great middle linebacker for them. I think he led the team in tackles either the year before or this.
He's a great and another name to look for if it is San Fran, Jason Verrett, the corner who is good when he plays. Unfortunately, can't stay healthy that often. Kind of has that Sidney Jones treatment. But what about this one? And I doubt this is incredibly unlikely. Carson Wentz and the 6th overall pick for Nick Bosa and a second rounder. And that might be too much from San Fran. They might just give you Nick Bosa. Again, unlikely, but 6th overall pick and Carson Wentz, Nick Bosa.
If they were to give up Nick Bosa, I would take that.
I mean, they might say, you know what, we can get another. I mean, I don't think you would. Nick Bosa is a beast, but they could say coming off an injury, we can get a younger guy on the line. But he'd be someone less likely to be on the move. In that defensive secondary, Richard Sherman could be a name. I'd be interested in Sherman, but not with Carson Wentz involved. Again, the question is, are you trading for value or are you trading to shed some of that contract? And that's where you start to see what things are worth. Because it's not trading Deshaun Watson where he's in the prime of his career coming off a good season. You have a guy who's clearly dissatisfied here and is trying to hold the card. So, again, San Fran, there's a lot of assets to work with. In Indianapolis, I can see Marlon Mack, Xavier Rhodes, and possibly a 4th rounder in exchange for Carson Wentz and probably a 2nd or 3rd rounder. That's what the most realistic trade would be, in my opinion.
Indiana seems like the clear-cut destination, Zach. That's where it's going to be. If it happens, that's what will happen. And then you talk about just rebuilding his defense as a whole. Zach, what if you go out and sign Earl Thomas? I know he was a head case in Baltimore. I know he has some off-the-field issues, Zach, with the whole girlfriend story. But you get a guy like that in the secondary, you put him up and back him up between Darius Slay and some other guys, that could work. You sign him on a cheap year, say, hey, we're giving you another chance, 1-year deal for like $5 million, see where that goes from there. I'll take that.
Look, I mean, he was not on a team this year. I mean, there's reasons for that. We'll see what happens in the offseason. Things might settle a little more, but these are the top destinations for Carson Wentz. It's going to be a conversation that's going to continue. This is real. This is something that is going to happen, in my opinion. So the next question, and we're going to talk about it after the break, do you draft a quarterback at 6? Do you package Jalen Hurts and the 6th overall pick to move up? Or what else do you do if Carson Wentz is on the move? Stay tuned. We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode. All right, let's talk about it. If Carson Wentz is on the move, it seems like Jalen Hurts would be the starter at the moment. Let's suppose the Eagles do move on from Carson Wentz. That trade does not involve the 6th overall pick, and it does not involve receiving a quarterback in return. Gavin, what are you doing if you're Howard Roseman?
If you're with your pick and if you're going to roll with Hurts, Zach, if you're going to roll with Hurts, you go out and get the best wide receiver available. If Devontae Smith is there, you take him. If Jamar Chase is there, you take him. Zach, I'm not really fond of Jalen Waddle, no disrespect to him, but Zach, if those two guys aren't there, you go out and go get a defensive guy and Parsons someone in the crew. Zach, if Jalen Hurts is your guy, you build around Hurts. Zach, you have to. All right, that's the one thing that you failed to do with Carson Wentz is build around him. Zach, what's the one thing they did well in Kansas City? Build around Pat Mahomes. All right, even though Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill were there, they brought in Mecole Hardman. They brought in Clyde Edwards-Helaire that he asked for. They got 2 great tackles. You got to build around this guy, Jalen Hurts. It starts with the wide receiver. If you go and you give him 2 new wide receivers this year, Zach. After you give him 2 new wide receivers, then you look at the offensive line. Zach, you always say the offensive line is going to fix itself. I agree with you. I don't disagree with you there. But, Zach, we got to keep weapons around Jalen Hurts for him to be successful. That's the number one key is to keep him with weapons around him.
So now, you are confident with Jalen Hurts if Carson Wentz is on the move, there's no quarterback in return?
Yes, sir.
Okay, look, I mean, there's a lot that I like to see from him last year with better coaching, with better O-line, with the same things I would assume with Carson Wentz. He would get better. I would definitely sit at 6. Believe it or not, I read something that people do believe that Jalen Waddle is better than Smith. I've not really watched a lot of the film, but the Pro Football Focus grade was better for Waddle, so don't sleep on him. All 3 of those guys I'd take. SEC wide receivers, big names. If you get Smith, you're reuniting him with Jalen Hurts, which would be a good connection. At this moment, it looks like Jalen Hurts will be the starter week 1 if Carson Wentz is on the move.
Zach, if you get Jalen, look, no, like I said, no disrespect to Jalen Waddle. Zach, is anything's better than TCU or the Pac-12 or wherever the hell you drafted for the last 2 years in wide receiver department, Howard Roseman. So Zach, I'll take either one of those guys. But Zach, we always talk about the best to get the clear-cut choice. All right, it's Smith, then it's Chase, and then it's Waddle. Those 3, one of those guys will be there. Zach, it all depends. All depends on who's going to be there at the time they get there. But I think Hurts is going to be the guy week 1, Zach. You just got to surround him with a lot of talent. And maybe get yourself, like I said, like a Marlon Mack. Get yourself another 2, a clear number 2. Because that seems a new norm, Zach, where running backs are starting to become more part of the offense. Like Alvin Kamara, 5 touchdowns during Christmas. I mean, and then you got Saquon Barkley literally helping out Daniel Jones. No, not this year, but in years before. Zach, you got to get yourself an established backfield. Get yourself established wide receivers. Zach, the offensive line will fix this up. Don't bring Jason Peters back at all. And then if you find a way to keep Zach Ertz here with Dallas Scott, I know it's going to get expensive down the road, but if you want to do it for like a year or 2 just to make sure Jalen Hurts is comfortable, or maybe just the rest of his contract, then I'll be fine. But Zach, you got to keep this man like around weapons, and then you start building up your defense. And if you want to get technical, Zach, you get Smith and you go out and get Allen Robinson and you say bye-bye to Alshon Jeffrey, that'll be good as well.
You could have a receiving core, Allen Robinson, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Reagor going into next year. Of course, Greg Ward coming off. The rotation, I like that, honestly, with Dallas Goedert. It's not a Super Bowl champion, but you have combined with the top 5 O-line. Jalen Hurts progresses to a top-tier level. Arguably, he could come out and be an MVP. That second-year quarterbacks tend to really have that big rise, and he got enough experience last year to be considered a rookie and have a good rookie experience. He played about 4 games, give or take, taken out in the second half of Washington, but starting in the second half against Green Bay. Look, there's a good possibility this team could be on its way up quickly. I don't think the Eagles even know where they're going right now, but I'd like to see Carson Wentz get on the move right now. You have a rookie quarterback, which is cheap to have from the second round. I mean, that's kind of your cap space situation right there fixed. You just imagine that it's going to Jalen Hurts instead, and then you cut Alshon Jeffrey, Arguably, you have to cut or think of Whiteside at some point. You got to trim a lot of pieces off, but that 6th overall pick is also going to be a little expensive.
Zach, it's like shaving. It's like shaving a beard. You got cut. You got to tighten up the beard. Zach, you got to tighten up the cap space. Look, Zach, if you get rid of Carson Wentz, I'm not big into money, Zach. Maybe you can help me out with that. If you get rid of Carson Wentz, trade him away, not cut him, I'm pretty sure that saves your cap crisis. Then you're going to have a little bit more money to spend than what you already do have. So, Zach, not only do you have money to spend, not only if you got a young quarterback and you got a new regime and you say, hey, you know what? Players are going to be like, we kind of want to play with this guy. All right? It's going to be hard to, to compete with Florida teams because of the no tax prices, but it's going to at least be a destination where people want to play with. I mean, Zach, think about it. If you're a free agent, you look at it and say, okay, they just cleaned house. They got some money to spend. They got a new quarterback. They got a new young wide receiver. If you're guys like Allen Robinson, who can be a veteran presence, if you're like Chris Godwin, I know he's dropping passes right now, but you could get him a little bit on the cheaper end if he does decide to leave. Zach, your favorite wide receiver right now, Kenny Golladay, you can bring him in too. There's a lot of options if you move Carson Wentz. You'll have more money to spend, Zach. You can even spend it towards the defense.
I agree. I really do. I think that this team, you have a couple years here until Hurts will need an extension, in which case you probably want to be a little bit more conservative with that and wait until his 5th year and play it out the same way the Cowboys did. As disrespectful as it can be to the player, it's crucial for the franchise to make moves like that. And again, it's a business. So we'll see how that rolls out. But with that being said, coming up after this, we're going to be recapping a exciting win, somewhat exciting, for the 76ers last night. Took their foot off the gas, found a way to come back and win. Predict tonight's game against Portland. They are favored to win it heavily. And then finally, we have some major announcements on some changes to our network. Stay tuned. Going to be exciting.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
All right, just taking care of business in Charlotte last night, taking care of the win there. Joel Embiid had a great night despite limited minutes. Starters didn't really play that much. Nothing really to say. You're a better team. You took the win. Matisse Thybulle, Defensive Player of the Year. Anything else?
Was that last night's win shows that this team can come back and this team can put up points. Zach, Joel Embiid is keeping his case to be MVP right now. He was Player of the Month for the East, Zach, and also not a lot of people knew that Doc Rivers was also Coach of the Month Coach of the Month. Like this team's real test is coming up. Zach, these next 6 games, you got Portland twice, you got Phoenix in there, you got Brooklyn on Saturday.
You got Utah.
You got Utah coming up, who just came off an 11-game win streak. Zach, we're going to figure out what this team is made of. And then when we come on here, especially on Monday after the Brooklyn game, and let's see, because, Zach, we all know how Brooklyn's post-game defense or post-defense is. It's non-existent. Zach, if they win that one, we'll have to have a discussion, talk about who is the real team to be in the East. Is it really Brooklyn Nets or is it the Sixers? Right now, the Sixers are on fire right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree 1,000%. This team is not the team to beat yet. The way that the Brooklyn Nets have looked, again, the Clippers and the Lakers, they don't have dominant bigs, and so they might have trouble against Brooklyn. But Philly's going to be a mismatch. They were able to contain Milwaukee a little bit, but this Sixers defense is deadly. They gave up 12 points last night in the first quarter against the Pacers. They gave up 6 in that final half of the fourth quarter. If this defense can really close out the way that they should, then I have no reason to believe they can't be a serious threat in the East, or arguably at this point, we expect the Eastern Conference Finals. They should be able to go to the finals if their defense is able to hold true.
And it's like if they do make it to the finals and play the Lakers in 7-game series, they could win in 7 games. They could win less than 7 games too, Zach. I know that's your best friend, LeBron James, your BFF. You all right? I know you got the pom-poms and everything, but Zach, I really want the Sixers to make it finals just to see who this man picks. Zach, I'm curious. Who would you pick? I know LeBron James and that how much it means to you for him to catch Jordan, which is never going to happen. I'm just curious.
When the time comes, I will analyze how the situation looks then, because they just beat the Lakers last week. Now, with that being said, the Sixers 2.5 games up over both the Bucks and the Nets. So winning tonight will guarantee, even with a loss over the weekend in Brooklyn, that they will hold first place. But get the job done tonight. Gavin, what are your keys to winning tonight?
making sure that man Damian Lillard doesn't do Damian Lillard things that neutralizing Damian Lillard and play Sixers basketball and don't let the foot up off the gas. Zach, if Joel Embiid's hot key giving him the ball, Ben Simmons has to be a little bit more aggressive and play fantastic defense like he always does. But
He's been scoring more. He's averaging 15 plus points past 2 games. He's been doing a good job.
And my sleeper for tonight's game, Zach, is going to be Seth Curry. Why is he a sleeper? Zach, not Brooklyn. Wow. Portland was one of his best teams he played for in a while. A revenge game. All right.
Traded him off to Dallas.
They traded him off to Dallas. They're trying to get moved again. Zach, if I'm Seth Curry, I'm dropping 31 tonight. But that's going to be my sleeper for tonight.
31 for number 31. I'm excited for it. I think they win tonight. I expected, of course, the last time they played Furkan Korkmaz's game winner in Portland. They do play in Portland in about a week, I think. So we'll get to see this team twice pretty soon. Defensively, I expect them to be good tonight. There's no dominant center that's going to stop and beat him. B should have a good night. Please play him. I understand that you want him to rest and then go up against Brooklyn. I think it's safe to test his limits a little bit, especially if he's in the MVP conversation.
Jack, if you're gonna try to compete for a championship, you gotta play not every day, but you gotta play majority of it. He didn't
even play that many minutes early. He played 30 minutes last night? Yeah,
that's 30. I'm just saying, Zach. I mean, you got guys like Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. They played almost every second of the game. I gotta see Joel Embiid be able to do that. I know his injury history, but sometimes it's one of those things you just gotta let the kids play.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm trying to find the injury report. It's not out yet, but back stiffness or back tightness would probably be tonight's excuse. But looking at right now, I don't see anything that is showing for him not to play. I think he should play. And if you can get it to an early lead and you can let him rest a little bit, Dwight Howard's been doing a good job in that backup role, and Tony Bradley can get some minutes tonight if they can pull away early. Finally, before we wrap up today's show, we do want to just get to a quick update on how it's been going here. Of course, it's been a great past almost a year, I think about 8-9 months now. 200 plus episodes, I think. I got to double check and count. But we've been on here every weekday since June 8th. We've had a post-game show. One point here, we've had some breaking news on the show, of course. We broke the news live. Doug Peterson being fired. We did our live stream in call-ins. We are continuing to look to how we can expand, and that's going to include finding some more time to dedicate towards other things. That's going to include within the next week, we are going to be launching our own website, which will have our live streams available on there. We're going to be launching a blog, which we'll be trying to post 3 to 5 times a week. Also, we're going to try to aim once or twice a week to do a pregame and a postgame for any of the respective sports in Philadelphia. And finally, we'll be doing a podcast. And then, of course, not every day, but we do want to aim for a few days a week when the time allows to do a daily talk show. But every day we will be premiering something. For example, on a Monday, we could be doing a live show like this right now. And on a Tuesday, we might be debuting an interview that we had with someone off the air. The day after could be a blog post. The day after could be a postgame live. We want to make sure that we stay committed to our goal of unity, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we can continue to grow and expand as a team and be able to continue to grow. Tomorrow is going to be our last official daily live talk show. Again, we're still going to do them as much as we can, but we do want to dedicate some more time towards a few other things that we can generate some more views on and be able to continue to spread our message. And of course, tomorrow we'll be doing some Super Bowl prop bets, which will be fun. We can review and analyze next week on one of the days that we get a chance to be live.
And it's not us giving up. It's not us. We're just looking forward to the next step. Zach, we said on the phone, we said we reached our maximum, so we want to expand more. We're excited. Zach, I'm excited for the next page, the next chapter of the show. It's been a fun 8-9 months. All right. The GOAT debate, ladies and gentlemen, that's not going to go nowhere. We're still going to argue. If we had to come on live and argue for an hour about Jordan being the best player of all time, we will. We're just going to be doing things a little bit differently, and hopefully you guys are going to like it. Hopefully we can keep growing and keep moving, and hopefully we can one day be the top of the top.
That's our goal. Look, our goal, one piece of content a day during the week. And on the weekend, we can do some live shows, Phillies pregame, Phillies postgame. The reason that we are going to reduce the daily show is because it will give us more time to provide some of this content that you can view anytime. We know that it's tough during these times of the day in the middle of a work day to be able to get you on here. And sometimes for us on our schedules, it's tougher to do 5 o'clock shows or even later. But if we're able to reduce our time live, we can actually spend some more time creating awesome content to deliver. And we can always come back on, go live whenever we want to. And if you're signed up and subscribed to us, or if you're on Facebook, get notified when we do go live.
Well said. I mean, look, we never want to shortchange you guys of our energy and in our debates and our heated arguments. Every time we come on here, we give it our all. We just want to bring the best out for our followers, and like Zach said, follow us, subscribe to us. You'll get notified when we go live, and we'll be here. And if you missed that, the best part is we got a YouTube channel full of all of our shows. We got interviews, and we got some big things coming pretty soon. Hopefully, Zach, we can't speak on that just yet because it's not 100% confirmed, but we're trying to pull some really nice big guests to come join us pretty soon. So just stay tuned.
Yeah, look, and they might be, there's different ways we're going to do it. We are going to be delivering on a podcast. We have the streaming. Gavin and I worked on this a while back for Spotify and a couple others for the approval. We just got to be able to get to it and upload. So we're going to do podcasts every week, whether it's a This Week in Sports recap once a week where we just sit down over audio and talk about it. Again, on the show, we're going to aim similar to how we are now, just kind of go through a daily rundown. And then, of course, we're doing blog posts. We'll do audio blogs. So either Gavin or myself can record the blog post that we write to record and post on there. We're at 90 subscribers. We're aiming towards 100. We want to continue to grow from there, get a couple thousand views here and there. And at the same time, look, we've reached our maximum viewership, and we appreciate everybody that's watched us daily. Now we're going to spend some more time to provide even more awesome content. We appreciate the money that we've gotten on Teespring and on Patreon. We're getting a couple bucks a month on Patreon, which is awesome. We have over 150 we've gotten in specifically in Teespring. We're going to be able to use some of that money, of course, part of our donations. Which we're going to be increasing focus on, try to get some interviews with them off the air and post and learn more about their organizations. And then at the same time, we're going to use some of that money so that we can get the website up and running. So a lot of exciting things coming. We hope to be live by Sunday night so we can start providing content daily next week. And the Instagram will be active again. We're going to get the Facebook more active, keep doing our part to keep growing this network. And if you're interested, like we've spoken with people interested in the sports talk world, if you want to have a role, if you want to be a guest blog writer or you want to be on a podcast or anything along those lines, we'd be happy to pick you up and add you to our network.
We're fun to work with. Trust me, you get to know us also outside the show. The same energy you get on the show is the same energy I bring off the show. It's all fun. We always arguing about something sports related. And we're not giving up, Zach. We're just kind of keep pushing. We had fun, all right. Our main focus was how can we do it with school. We've been able to successfully do it for the past 3 to 4 months. So now we're looking forward to pushing again. I know the Instagram has been a little bit down, but trust me, that's coming back. We're going to start doing some more things over there where if we have a hot take quote, we'll put it in words and everybody can see, and we have debates on there. Zach, I know you did one a little while ago on that and turn some heads, and check out for the Twitter. Zach's always saying something on the Twitter. We're always going to have something on there. And every now and then I might get in on the Twitter action and say something, Zach. When you said about LeBron James as equivalent to Michael Jordan, that made me.
I made sure to quote myself because it was on our main account. I made sure that I quoted myself on that.
Because it didn't come from my mouth. It didn't come from my mouth, but it came from his. But we'll just be excited for the future, 2021. All right, we're a couple months away from graduating. We want to take this show seriously. We've been taking it seriously every day for the past 9 months, almost 12. Zach, 8 to 9 months.
Awesome. And we're going to always look, if we ever want to just go, if we have breaking news to do, we have the availability, but you have to make sure you're subscribed. You hit that bell icon. The video that we play right after will tell you that for YouTube on Facebook, you'll get notified as well if you set up your notifications to be on. I'm excited. This is our next level thing. Again, taking time, this half hour to an hour of preparation and airtime. We're going to dedicate that time towards blog posts, towards different audio recordings, and you can listen anytime. You go on the website, we'll give you information on that. We'll do a website debut, possibly Sunday or Monday. We'll come on live and we'll show you through the website, go through everything, answer some questions in a Q&A session. And yes, we'll record some off-air GOAT debates that we will put on. It's going to be fun. We have a lot of technology at our resources, a lot more than people have had in the past. And we're really excited to continue to move this forward.
And I have a better computer to run it on now, Zach.
For sure. Without a doubt, we've been through a lot here.
Been through a lot of technology. Will always be our greatest enemy some days, but Zach has been fun. But no, and if you guys still want to join the show, we can still do that. Hit me or Zach up, and if you want to join us, you can. All right, that's not going to change. Our basic of our show, where we base our show off of unity and just having fun, that's not going to change. The message is still the same. It's just going to be brought to you in a little bit of a different way, and even more bigger way. We want to get our voices out there. We want to reach more people. All right. Who we reached so far, we appreciate you for rocking with us, but we gotta get some more. We gotta get some more people and try to touch them and grace our fun vibes around them and our positive message. But all in all, guys, it's been fun. We'll with y'all tomorrow.
Without a doubt, prop bets tomorrow. We're guessing Gatorade colors, the coin toss, and more. And then we will figure out the winner. We'll come on live next week to go over some of those things. But with that being said, more blogs, more content. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting. Thank you for staying with us so far. And Gavin, yes, a little surprise for you. I will be having a just roll with the punches sweatshirt produced for you. I'm working on a little design for it. It will be on the Teespring. I promise. I know we've said it a lot in the past. We haven't found time to do it, but I have found some time to mess around with some design concepts. I think you'll like it a lot.
Well,
and we have a lot of notable quotes to go through. We got some T-shirts we got coming out. We have a lot of exciting things coming. So thank you all for your support. With that being said, we'll be back tomorrow for the final time on the official More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. Again, we will continue to provide awesome content throughout it. But thank you again, everyone. Gavin, anything else you wanted to say today?
None. Like I said earlier, happy birthday, Olivia. My sister's birthday. She's turning 5 today. Man, Zach, she keeps me up at night.
I guess you get used to it. It's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Good thing sometimes. I don't know about every time, but it's a good thing sometimes. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with y'all tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos. Again, thanks for watching.